Central Bank of Nigeria targets double-digit economic growth and single-digit inflation before 2024. National Information Technology Development Agency to leverage AFCFTA to build a digital market in Africa. Oil steadies after hitting three-week low on pandemic restrictions. Plus, Chinese stocks subdued as COVID worries weigh on sentiment. Details of this and more on Business Express. We are reaching you from Abuja. I am Musa Abubakar. Let's begin with the Apex Bank. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, says that the nation's Apex Bank has set a target of achieving a double-digit economic growth and a single-digit inflation rate on or before 2024. Emefiele, who stated this, said the double-digit growth and single-digit inflation rate are part of targets of the 5-year policy thrust of the CBN and its projections for Nigeria's economy by the end of 2024. The CBN governor, who was represented by the Acting Director of Corporate Communications Department, CBN, Osita Nwasobi, stated that intervention programs of the bank were well conceived to help the growth of the nation's economy and stabilize its financial system. The CBN governor said though the projection of a double-digit economic growth and single-digit inflation for the nation by 2024 appears to be a tall dream considering the current economic realities. However, the Apex Bank remained determined to work assiduously in meeting the set target. He therefore demanded support and participation of Nigerians so the targets can be met. Let's now see how much the Naira is exchanging for other currencies. Now, the Federal Executive Council last week, Wednesday, gave approval to NNPC to acquire 20% stake in Dangote Refinery, Lagos. The state-owned oil agency intends to be a minority shareholder in the company, which has the capacity to refine 650,000 barrels of crude oil daily. What does this mean for the parties and the Nigerian economy shall be the focus of Business Express for the day. To do justice to this is an oil and gas expert, Balazaka. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you.
Now, NNPC announced it's going to be paying dividend before the end of the year. FEC subsequently announced the approval for NNPC to acquire 20% stake in Dangote refineries. What is your take on this?
Yeah, first of all, when an investor acquires up to 20% stake in an investee or investee company, that means that investor will now have what we call significant influence. That investor can be represented on the board of the investee. In this case, if the deal goes through, that means NNPC can be represented on the board of Dangote. But this is my own approach. This is my feeling after the analysis of everything. As far as I am concerned, Dangote is 100% a purely private initiative that is after cost minimization and profit maximization. While NPC, in this context, government is supposed to provide goods and services for her individual and corporate citizens. So from that angle alone, the corporate philosophy of Dangote is completely, or is supposed to be completely different from the national philosophy of NNPC or the Nigerian government. Another point that should be taken into consideration again is this. For Dangote as a private initiative, after complying with their statutory obligations like taxes, levies, and royalties, the next thing they bother about is their profit after tax. Whereas when you are talking about NNPC, in this case government, the consideration is how to cushion the economic and social pains of citizens so that collectively they can grow the GDP of the country. So
now if I may comment, should we be worried or should we be celebrating?
No, it's a mix, really. It's a mix. It depends on who you're talking to. But one thing that I to me is a positive is that Dangote, though a private initiative, is a Nigerian company or organization that will contribute so much at the end of the day to the growth of Nigerian citizens. So rather than investing actually in Dangote, I will want to see an encouragement of more Dangotes. So, and we can do that by showing a clear example from the current Dangote, by probably providing what we call through pioneer legislation to see how we can provide tax reliefs, tax honorarium, and tax holidays. Because another thing I want to say clearly is this. For Dangote as a private initiative, the price of diesel is heading towards 300 naira. For Dangote as a private initiative, that is sweet business. But for the group managing director of NNPC, that is a headache and a sleepless night. For Dangote, the price of 12 kg of gas is heading towards 6,000. But for the group managing director of NNPC and the petroleum minister, that is a headache and a sleepless night that may soon result into probably social anarchy. For Dangote as a private initiative, the attempt by NNPC to revive her refinery will be a direct competition to Dangote because it will reduce the opportunities for Dangote. So as far as I'm concerned, to me personally, the philosophies look completely parallel. There may be no convergence, but it's good to rather encourage more Dangotes in Nigeria.
Okay, $19 billion seems to be a huge amount for a refinery, and NNPC is purchasing 20% stake now. Are there risks for any of them?
No, as far as I'm concerned, though with 20% investment, that investor will have what we call significant interest. But that does not mean the investor, in this case, government, will have what we call controlling interest. Dangote will still have the controlling interest and controlling initiative and focus. So to that extent, the driver will still be Dangote. then the Nigerian government, of course, will participate. So to a reasonable extent, Nigerian government NNPC will have significant interest, but Dangote will still be the driver, because Dangote will still be the controlling, will have the controlling interest. So I see a situation where it will definitely, at the end of the day, be something beneficial. But because we are talking about 200 million citizens here, and we are talking about a country that really has what we call supply gaps and shortages. Whether you talk about cooking gas, whether you talk about petrol, whether you talk about diesel, it will be easier.
Now coming to that, what's the benefit for Nigerians, and what protection is there for Nigerians that will be paying for the products?
No, definitely for Dangote, because it is a private initiative, and Dangote will be after cost minimization and a profit maximization. For Dangote, definitely at the end of the day, Dangote will recruit Nigerians. So Dangote as a private entity will do well. But for Nigeria, or NNPC in this case, what we are after is creating goods and services that will be affordable for Nigerians. And that's why the encouragement of the revamping of the refineries will be good. But by the time that is done, it is actually also a direct competition to Dangote. Because when the refineries of local refineries come up, they will eat into the market share of Dangote. But at the end of the day, it will still be a win-win for Nigeria. So what people like me will advocate, rather, if it were going to be possible, Nigerian government should encourage the current Dangote and more Dangotes. But because of our size...
How will they do that? Yeah. How will you suggest they do that?
Okay, what we are saying is this. If they encourage more Dangotes to come in, remember, Nigeria is still the biggest in the West African sub-region. All Nigerian government can do is this. By the time this more Dangotes come in, Nigerian government can come in and help in palliating certain things by making sure we have rail lines constructed across the West African coast. Then from Nigeria, we can start shipping our goods or products. And to that extent, we will control the regional economy. And if we control the regional economy, we will become the regional political power. But most importantly, we will have our depots and supply points across all those countries. Before you know, our technicians will be the ones there. Our accountants will be the ones there. Our energy journalists like you will be the ones there. And that's how regional power and regional control and other things are achieved. And it is achievable because even as we speak, not only West African region, the entire Africa is looking up to Nigeria to provide the political, economic, and social leadership.
Okay. Well, do you foresee government selling its shareholdings in the future or at any point?
Well, government in every country, by their design, are supposed to help individual and corporate citizens. So our expectation is that government has to look at everything, because like we said, private companies are after profit maximization and cost minimization. But for government is nationalistic. Their own is to make sure they support both private and corporate individuals. So if in the wisdom of the leaders in government, they feel selling their own stake will be in the overall interest of the country and the growth of the country's GDP, they will do that. But by the time they carry out their analysis again and they feel they are being a part of Dangote, will help to strengthen Dangote and will encourage more Dangotes, then the government will take that decision. But that will be within the purview and the wisdom of government and those who will be running both the economic and the political governance of the country.
Okay, thank you, Balazaka, for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you.
Now moving on, the deployment of digital technology in protecting oil and gas facilities is a dependable option in the face of current security challenges. This was highlighted in a lecture delivered by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipiri Silva, at the National Defense College, Abuja.
Area of drilling, technology is facilitating the development of more enhanced oil recovery and offering real-time data through logging while drilling.
Gold prices languished near multi-month lows on Tuesday, hurt by a rise in U.S. bond yields and a stronger dollar after robust U.S. jobs data last week raised bets over the Federal Reserve tapering stimulus earlier than expected. Oil prices rose on Tuesday, edging up from a three-week low in the previous session, but gains are likely to be limited on worries that rising COVID-19 cases and restrictions in China will dent fuel demand. Brent crude was up by 30 cents at $69.34 a barrel after falling 2.3% on Monday. U.S. oil was up by 43 cents at $66.91 a barrel, having fallen by 2.6% in the previous session. Now, resident representative of International Monetary Fund to Nigeria, Ari Eisen, says Nigeria can take advantage of the $3.34 billion special drawing rights to hasten our recovery process and promote sustainable development through transparency and accountability.
We strongly recommend our member countries, and in fact we call all our partners, domestic partners, international partners, to work with us to make the most out of it, so those funds really can be used to the benefit of all countries, Nigeria and others. So we are always emphasizing the need of good governance, good use of funds, transparent, with responsibility. This is a very precious injection of funds. It's good to make sure that those funds are well used to the benefit of the people and the countries.
With the COVID-19 and the current economic hardship which came along with it, young women are taking up jobs. It told Men for Men. Muplanda caught up with Chidi Bere in Abuja on surviving COVID-19.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Chidebere Sunday learned binding and printing last year after the lockdown when she lost her job.
I have to earn a living. So I take the decision by coming out from my house not to be a lazy youth and work for myself, because we find ourselves that the job that mostly should be done by men are not done by us because we couldn't feed, we couldn't do anything.
She says she is grateful and happy that she chose this path and is now able to put food on her table. But with the pandemic being far from over, things are still tough.
The pandemic has really affected our business, that we don't even make sales. The price of things in our country is very high. We are finding it difficult to earn a living.
Many Nigerians may be excited about the various credit facilities for small businesses by the Central Bank of Nigeria. But Chidebere says while she would love some money to start her own business, she is not ready to take a loan.
My earning is poor. How can I collect a loan at this age? how will I pay? And from now till when will I be able to complete my loan? So I am not to collect any loan from the bank because my earning is not even up to what is not even, it can't satisfy me.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Now, the Standards Organization of Nigeria has unveiled what is tagged the Nigerian National Standardization Strategy to unlock a total of 658 standardization projects in key priority areas classified by economic sectors, as highlighted in the federal government's Economic Recovery and Growth Plan and Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan. Director Standards Development Chinyere Eguwu, who stated thus, said the strategy has a 3-year implementation plan with assigned resources. Egu noted that the aim of the strategy is to support Nigeria's industrialization strategies and unleash prospects for improved socio-economic development. She said standards development is demand stakeholders driven, which means the standards must be developed carefully, continue to meet stakeholders' demands and expectations, adding that with the constant improvement in science, technology, and innovation, demands for standards continuously increase. Now, as Nigeria is moving towards diversifying its economy using technology, the National Information Technology Development Agency says it has proposed a partnership with the Republic of Namibia in the areas of innovations and entrepreneurship through African Continental Free Trade Area. This is because Africa is a continent lost out during the first, second, and third industrial revolutions due to the huge capital investment, but with the fourth industrial revolution comes endless opportunities that all it needs is talent and vibrant young technological driven generation. It is therefore imperative for African countries to encourage made in Africa products by exploring and exploiting opportunities provided by emerging technologies to build an enviable global market standard. The agreement in finding a viable route for digital trade resolution was made when the High Commissioner of Namibia to Nigeria and Permanent Representative to ECOWAS, Humphrey JC, said a visit to the agency's corporate headquarters, Abuja. The Director General of NITDA, Malang Kashifu Inua Abdullahi, expressed his delight and privilege at the High Commissioner's enthusiasm in seeking collaborations with NITDA in building a stronger relationship and developing technological products between the two countries. And on the global scene, Chinese stocks subdued as COVID worries weigh on sentiment, Nikalko reports.
While COVID-19 concerns weigh on investor sentiment globally, stocks in Asia Pacific were mixed in Tuesday trade as South Korean game developer Krafton plunged in its debut. Stocks of companies related to South Korean conglomerate Samsung declined in Tuesday trade by 1.47%. Mainland Chinese stocks were positive but subdued by Tuesday. The Shanghai Composite gained 0.43%, while the Nikkei of Japan added 0.24%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index edged 0.82% higher. European stocks are expected to open slightly on Tuesday, continuing a more cautious approach seen globally at the start of the week. London's FTSE is seen opening 8 points lower at 7,132. Germany's DAX is seen 21 points lower, and CAC 40 of France down 7 points. U.S. stock futures were little changed on Monday night after the Dow Jones Industrial Average and S&P 500 fell from record highs in regular trading amid concerns about a resurgence in COVID-19 cases. Numbers in U.S. markets are coming in slowly this morning. The sober start in the trading day is also expected to reflect similar sentiment in African markets after they posted a positive first day of the week. Neka Oko, Business Express.
Now that wraps this edition of Business Express. Remember to keep in touch with us, or do send in your comments, observations and suggestions. Also be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express returns Wednesday at 3 p.m. Be safe out there. I am Musa Abubakar.